Hello everyone, this is Ross from Retro Dream Beam. I'm an eBay seller full-time. I've been doing this with my fiance Netta for more than 3 years now. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. I'm about to go into what we're shipping out today on Monday, but overall the weekend sales were really bad. It was about 50%, so half of what we normally do. I'm still going to appreciate the sales that did come in, and we do have some very interesting things that sold, so I'm just going to jump right into it. So the first thing right here is going to be, the other thing that sucked is we needed to do, paid for car brakes over the weekend, so I had to deal with that hassle, and that was like $800. So it's just like, it always happens when I get a car bill and then whatever job or whatever I'm doing at the time just doesn't pay as much, so it's like always doubling down. Oops, sorry. All right, sorry about that. All right, first up is going to be these XCOM dice right over here. These are for like the XCOM board game, which is funny because I actually played the board game first. It was so many years ago. I think it's one of those board games where there's like a time mechanic in real life that you have to do, and I don't like having time mechanics in board games. I don't like the a rush of it. I just don't like it. There's also like another one called Galaxy Trucker. A lot of people like these types of games. I don't. I actually just want to have like time to sit back or think, eat food, drink, bathroom break. I don't want to be doing something like stressful, like an active when I'm playing a board game. A board game's like almost like a passive activity in my head. So I played the board game first, then I played part 2 of the video game like a couple months ago, and then now I end up getting these dice, ended up selling the dice for the board game. I don't remember too much about the board game, but it's just weird when you do like a thing out of order, if that makes sense. Like the video game came first, then the board game. So these dice sold for $12 plus shipping. Everything's going to be plus shipping. All right, moving along, we have a Goosebump book. I have a bunch of Goosebump books. I think this is one of my Goosebump books from childhood. This is going to be One Day at Horrorland. It's not a first edition. I know how to tell the first edition by the inside cover. There's like a bunch of different numbers, and there's like a certain way to tell which one's first edition or not. The first edition sell for more. This has like a little, sticker peel right there. Some like creases and stuff, but you can still read it. This ended up going for $6.99. People love Goosebumps. All right, next up is going to be this incomplete. I think it's the box and then without the map. So it is going to have the tokens. I did already put in a wrapping right here just to keep it safe in storage. I do that with all my items. Tank and Tank East Front expansion right here. So it's like all these little like tanks. They're like bigger cardboard pieces. So it's going to be one of those military games. This ended up going for $22.39. All right, next up is going to be for a GMT game. They make these like Frontier games. I don't think I've played an actual GMT game, but I saw a lot of like the bits and pieces. This is going to be for Illusions of Glory. It's going to be the second edition. It's just the rules, and then there's going to be 4 of these different reference charts. So not even close to the full thing. Went to a repeat buyer for $7.50. I recognize this name. They must enjoy all the bits and pieces I've been listing. All right, moving along. This was kind of like annoying in my storage box. I'm glad it sold right here. This is going to be a Rat King. It's like just a cube little box, but then inside is going to be an ornament with the same type of rat throughout, like the side of the ornament. This ended up going for $18. It's a pretty cool one. I'm a fan of rats, but yeah, we ended up listing that one. Didn't want to keep that one. All right. Yeah, people buy ornaments all year round. We haven't listed or gotten too many in a long time. I don't think I have less than probably like 50 or so different ornaments or sets listed right now. Next up is going to be some interesting things. These are 100 Game of Thrones, the Targaryen sleeves. These are by, I believe, Fantasy Flight Games. I forgot when they came out with these. These are at least probably 10 years old, but like when Fantasy Flight Games or other companies do sleeves, they usually at some point cut off the print run, and then eventually at some point, if they were a good like art or something and people love Game of Thrones, the Targaryens were the most popular of the sleeves. This is 100, which means a Magic the Gathering player is going to be using it because there's a format called Commander where you need to sleeve 100 cards. So this hit all of those things where it's like sleeves 10 years old, enough for a Commander deck, the most popular type, Game of Thrones, Targaryen. So this ended up going for $17 for old sleeves. So that's pretty good. These are used, but they were still like sometimes when I get collections, there would be like decks or stuff, and then there'll be sleeves, and I'll just sell the sleeves. Sometimes the sleeves are more than the cards themselves. So I'm just like aware of all these different types of sleeves that like people keep a track of and look for. And then if they ripped some, they need to like go spend some good money to get more, because you just can't like buy them at like a retail store anymore. Next up is that's like what eBay is going to be good for. Moving along, we have this. This is going to be over 100 Axis and Allies. Not sure what edition. I just noticed the pieces. I didn't go too deep on the edition. They're still in their sprues. This ended up going for $27.99. Axis and Ally stuff is pretty good. I know there's like, I've never gotten like a complete version, but I always get like bits and pieces, and I always tell people like the game, the board game, the format. All right, Next up, all right, an empty box. First one right here. Sold a lot of empty boxes today. This is going to be Pandemic on the Brink right here. Expansion. This is a pretty popular expansion. Pandemic's going to be a co-op game where you're like curing, I think it's like 3 or 4 diseases, and then the expansions add other things like there'll be different characters you can play, or like the viruses can expand further and be harder. You can do different difficulties. So sometimes you can actually have someone be like I think this is like a biochemist, terrorist type of person that someone can play, and they get like a hidden role. So this is just a storage container. So someone probably has their box broken or they want it as a shelf piece. This sold for $14. So it's pretty good for that. All right, next up, another empty box. I don't know why I was selling a bunch of empty boxes. All right, this one is going to be World in Flames, the final edition. So it's going to be like one of those military games. I remember this actually had pieces inside, and I did sell some pieces today, not to the same person. But I was like, oh, it wasn't like enough of an incomplete game to sell it as is. So I just separated everything, including the box. Sometimes these old military boxes or board game boxes get like corner rips in the corners and stuff, or smushing. This one's still pretty good, $24.99 for just the box. That game is really expensive if it's complete. All right, moving along. This was a weird one because this is going to be Chicago Bears, some kind of NFL like official sealed playing card deck. Like I remember finding this at Goodwill when we first started. So this is probably like one of the first few hundred items I got. It was like a quarter because I think it was either half off day or half off sticker, something like that. It was a quarter. I remember like looking at a bunch of comps and they were all over the place. I took kind of comps a little bit too serious at that point in time. So it took a long time to sell. This ended up going for $37.80. I couldn't figure out why. I guess just because it's like sports branded. So maybe this was at like an event or something and it was special. Like on the top, it just says that it cost the person $1. So it might be like a vintage one. But yeah, this is an old listing for me, $37.80. There you go. I told you I've sold playing card decks for up to $40 before. This is the first time I get to show you guys in the channel because I haven't recorded everything since we've started. It would be pretty cool if I did, but it's too late. Can't go back in time and record all the what's sold. Maybe I can go through the account and just do them, but it's not as fun with you guys with the scene without seeing the stuff in front of you. All right, that would take a long time to go through everything. That would be interesting. Sometimes I go look at the old sales. I'm like, oh, I completely forgot about that. Time just goes fast. We have these Skytrex model kits, little decals for, I think it's World War II. They're going to be some kind of star. So yeah, people like to accessorize their miniatures, especially these decals. $7.83. Nothing too fancy for like price, but very easy to list. And then someone's going to use and enjoy it. All right. Moving along, World in Flames. Like I said, I took it apart. This is going to be the Europe map. There's the eastern side and the western side. So yeah, this board, like when you fold this out, is pretty big. People like these types of board games. $27.99. It's one of those board games where I have no one to like play them with. Annette and I like story games and co-op games and stuff like that. And you kind of probably need more than 2 people for one of these military games. I know there's a lot of 2-player ones, but I would need someone to teach you. I'm not going to devote a lot of time learning some rules and then like play everyone myself as solo. All right, next up is going to be a World of Warcraft trading card game card. This is going to be what rarity? It's I can't tell the difference between like the blue and purple. My color blindness like gets me right there. I'm like red green, but then like purples and blues next to each other is rough. So this is Outlands card. Sorry, this is Spellbreakers Buckler right here. This is going to be either an epic or a rare. I want to say it's an epic. So that's just going to be like a slightly more rare collectible card in this series. This is a really cool game. If you played Hearthstone, the digital game, they kind of, mostly this game is what Hearthstone is now, and Hearthstone kind of has like a lot of the extra stuff taken out. This is going to be a shield that you can equip it on a paladin or a shaman, and then like you can actually equip up your characters. So you're trying to bring the other person's hero down to 0 life points, damage sticks on monsters, so all that stuff. So if you've played Hearthstone and you don't play anymore, but you kind of want to play it again, go ahead and pick up some of my World of Warcraft trading card game. I have a bunch of lots and stuff. It's really fun. It really is a good one. This sold for $3.50. I think if they kind of kept going into it, I'm not sure if like the company Cryptozoic stopped like making this stuff for whatever reason. I'm not sure like the corporate back end of it, but I think they would be doing well if they kept doing this game. They could have even done like a tie-in with Hearthstone. So yeah, just $3.50 for that, either like rare or ultra rare or epic. All right, next up is going to be Magic the Gathering deck box right here. This is Tajik right here. He is a Boros legendary creature. I think he's like 3 mana. I think he does like extra damage or attacks or something. It's been a long time. This is from Gatecrash. And then this particular deck box is only for 80 cards or like 60 plus like a 15 card sideboard. If it was for a commander deck, it probably would have sold faster. Those are the bigger deck boxes for 100 cards. This went to a repeat buyer for $6.23. All right, another empty box. Like I said, good luck with the empty boxes. This is going to be the Great War at Sea Part 2. This is going to be one of those Avalanche Press, so one of those kind of like bookcase games. Another military one. You can see all the different like ship tokens that they're supposed to be here. This is just a box, but it's a good condition, mostly the corners. There's no smushing. There is some like wear and stuff, but yeah, this ended up going for $11.99. Like, I don't know, I was doing pretty good with the empty boxes. That was like 3 or 4 of them. All right, moving along, we have this poster right here. This is going to be The Hateful Eight by Quentin Tarantino. This one is, Annetta had this poster from a long time ago from her college days or something. I don't think she remembered where she got it. It's kind of like this like recycled cardboard paper poster thing, kind of like almost like a banner. This is a really good movie. She actually showed me the movie. I had never seen it before. We watched it during lockdown, so it was a really good movie. This sold for $19.99. It's kind of like one of my favorites. And I don't remember a lot of it now at this point because that's been 5 years ago. So we've been talking about watching it again just to, I know some of the twists and turns, but it was still a good one. All right, next up is going to be a Parabellum miniature. I couldn't like identify what this one was. It's still on its sprue. For people who don't know, like miniatures will come on these sprues and then you kind of gotta like clip them off. You gotta like shave them down with like files and stuff, and then you glue them together, and then you get to paint them if you want. So yeah, this figure went for $10.08. Yeah, this character looks like it has a sword, broadsword. There's gonna be some chainmail, and then there's also like a bunch of capes and stuff. So yeah, some kind of like warrior. All right, and it's like a male face. Yeah. All right, next up is going to be these right here. These are going to be 3 ships for CNC, I believe. It's going to be some metal boats. I normally don't get boats. There's some turrets that they have to glue on. So yeah, I got this with like the bin of all the other GHQ stuff. So then I saw a bunch of ships and I listed them. I haven't sold too many ships. Maybe the price is too high. Maybe they aren't CNC. Like maybe I labeled them wrong or something, but someone will eventually come in and tell me if they're correct or not. But these sold for $17. I have really good pictures of all of them, so they clearly see what they get with measurements. Moving along, we have like the size of miniatures matters for people because they want it to be a certain scale. You don't want to have like an infantry this big next to a ship this big, if that makes sense. We have this lot of Monsterpocalypse. This is going to be the, not Steamforged Games. Is this Steamforged Games? It's going to be whatever brand. I can't remember. Sorry. I'm just going to assume this is whatever the newest brand that they were trying to sell at Gen Con a couple of years ago. So these are the tokens. 4 sheets of them. There's like this fold-out terrain building. These little building rubble right here are actually from the old Monsterpocalypse when they made it a collectible game. Then they eventually turned it into a miniature game where you build the miniature like I was talking about. There's also going to be rule books and some maps in here. So this sold for $15. I listed that recently. All right, no miniatures. The miniatures would do a lot better. Actually, I think the ones that you build with the kits, I don't think they sell for too much. I passed up on some at auction because when I looked up like the comps there, at the auction, looked like the miniature kits were only selling for like 20, and then like starting bids were like 10 or 15. So there wasn't enough like profit or meat on the bone for that. But I should have just grabbed them maybe to make some lots and then like have a little bit more faith in like a cool miniature, just like it for 10 or $20. They're these cool big monsters and kaijus. All right. I'm just having regrets for not bidding on that stuff. Next up is going to be this. It's Bardwood Grove Kickstarter exclusive pack. I'm not sure for like what board game this is for, or if that's just the board game name. Kickstarter stuff does really well. Usually it's going to be these extra promos you get for like paying up front for the board game. Sometimes they take 1, 2, or 3 years for the company to ship them all. And then people will get different rewards based on like how much money people have spent overall in the campaign. So it gets a little, there's also like drama with it as well, but this ended up selling for $24.99. Essentially, people like to get all the expansions, the ones that play well, the extra bits to upgrade their games. They like to collect it. Me too. I like some stuff too. I'm not one of the people that has to get everything, but usually if I find something cheap and it's for a board game that I play or have played, I'll be like, okay, I want that promo or something. It really depends. Moving along, we have a lot of 103 different cards. There's one of the character standees. I think her name's Wendy. And then there's a lot of the monsters. This is for Arkham Horror, the board game. This is the Kingsport expansion. This is going international. It's not like the whole thing complete, but it's a lot of stuff for it. It was like mostly complete. There's obviously not the box. Arkham Horror, we've played the card game, but this is the board game version. So it's a really good, just like genre of game. It's like the Cthulhu stuff. It's all like the mind and insanity and horrors and monsters around the corner. They have a bunch of different board games, ones that are like really in depth, some that are less in depth, and then they have like the card game. So most of the stuff is by Fantasy Flight Games. Older company, people like this stuff. All right, next up right here is going to be a harbor boat set, a little HO scale kit. So this is going to be, I believe, for a train village or something like that, or they can use it for wherever they want. So there's a bunch of these little boats, pretty cool. They have like little rows, the yeah, whatever the things that you row. I can't remember the name. Oh my goodness, I'm sleeping right now. I got like 4 hours of sleep, just couldn't sleep. So yeah, this ended up selling for $15. Oars, they're called oars, right? Okay, I'm gonna move on. We have this right here. This is going to be a little strip from a newspaper. This is just like a page or a few pages. This is from Wednesday, February 14th, 1934. You have this like a little shipwreck right here. And then you have this lady right here. She's gonna be like some kind of celebrity. I'm really bad with knowing celebrities. Miss Leslie Carter right there. Looks like she's 72, or at least that's what it's claiming in this newspaper. So there's gonna be a couple more things. Like I said, it's just a couple pages. If I had the whole thing, I'd do a lot better. Annetta got a bunch of ephemera a long time ago, really cheap, and then I eventually went through most of it and listed it. I think I only have like a little bit left. I don't know if it's like ephemera, it's just like a box of stuff from that bulk buy. But yeah, this time I'm going for $7.32. Nothing too crazy for the price, but yeah, like I said, like it was half of what we normally do on a weekend, but there's still like cool stuff. It's cool to sell like with the ephemera. It's cool to sell like the empty boxes. These are things that like they will eventually sell. It's just nice to see a lot of people getting different types of things. So this next one, I maybe made a mistake. I already reached out to the person. This is going to be for Heroes of Normandy. It's like a World War II futuristic kind of, I don't know how like realistic it is, but you play in a grid and then it has like the cardboard tokens. You see, I keep selling them to someone. I'll sell like the big lots of them because I don't have any of the games. It's just one of the maps right here. This was the wrong map. I thought I had two of them. Like they kind of like just the buildings and the rubble kind of looked similar enough where I needed to fold it all the way out to realize it was slightly a different map. So that might matter to the person. So I messaged them to see if they still want it. Yeah, if I don't hear back, I'm just going to ship it and I'm going to deal with the consequences, for my mistake if it ends up not being like an okay swapping. But this ended up going for $13.72. They're very similar. It got me good. I got punished for not folding it out. Normally, when I'm dealing with this stuff, I fold it all the way out. I double check, and then I like to fold it all the way in. This one, I think I just didn't do it because it was still basically, I can tell it was like never fully folded out. So I didn't want to like mess with the creases and the edges for these maps, but my mistake. Moving along, we have these 89 Star Wars RPG. These are going to be cardboard tokens with a bunch of different characters. These are going to be used for like the map and stuff. Like if you want to have stuff that actually visualizes your role-playing game. Some people do pen and paper and just the imagination of their mind. A lot of people like to put stuff on the table for their players. So yeah, this ended up going for $11.24 for those. Those were from like one of those starter kits. All right, next up is going to be Duel Masters right here, which is cool because I normally sell the Kaijudo stuff. Before, it was a game called Duel Masters right here. So very similar setup, a little bit of more gritty art because Kaijudo was trying to appeal to kids. That was their like target audience, or teenagers for Kaijudo. So I got this at auction. I wrote this down that I paid a quarter for this one. Well, I just took like the whole lot and divided it between everything. This ended up going for $25.59. So that was a pretty good lot that I got of Duel Master stuff. No one wanted it. I'm like, oh, I know people like that stuff. All right. And I think this is going to be the last item for the day right here. It's going to be a Road Champs Chevrolet Big Dually diecast car. It's like 6 inches right here. Pretty good quality one. I get a bunch of these like cars and stuff pretty cheap all the time. I haven't gotten any in a while, but people do collect them and pick them up. I don't know too much about cars, but I like selling the little ones and the diecast ones and like the ships and planes and stuff. All right, that's everything. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Hope everyone had a good weekend and didn't have to do a car repair like me.